everybody, it is Calxiyn here. Before we get into that theory, let me just say thank you to Academy, Professor Jackson Buchanan, and Huntsman tier patron Edwin for supporting me on Patreon. The link is in the description, and I will talk about that more at the end of the video. So today, we are going to be talking about a theory that was left in my comments, actually, by Target Candy For You Studios, who wrote on my last analysis video, calling it For Grimm, Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Now, what does he mean by that? He means that the Nikolave,
what are you talking about?
The monster thingy that we saw in last episode that you said was from Lord of the Rings.
The Nazgul. Not a Nicaraga. What that sounds like a South Central American nation.
Hold on, I'll find the name for it in just a second. See?
Nazgul.
It looks like this.
I have no idea what that is.
See, it's a Nukkalavi.
Okay, so
Look
that's
at
definitely
this.
not. I know, I see it. That makes.
How do you
more
say
sense.
that?
I guess Nikolave.
Yeah! So leave me alone. I know that's not what you said.
Yeah, but you make it. Can we continue to yell, or do you want to go forward with the theory video?
Anyway, basically this creature is a man with very long arms who basically kind of looks like the skinless Titan, the Colossal Titan, or you know, the female Titan from Attack on Titan, dragging its arms on the ground, as well as a horse with very creepy long hands as well, and then like the back part actually looks like a horse. Anyway, we have a theory about this. Even though this creature is, as far as I know, from Irish mythology and is not your standard Four Horsemen nonsense, I believe in this theory, and it is a good idea because it does look like a demon, first of all, and it is technically a horseman, like it's a guy on the back of a horse, so it all fits rather well.
Definition of a horseman, but I digress.
And it is rather scary and does look like something that
the long arm that creeps me out.
Yeah.
The long arm.
It would either bring, these are the four horsemen according to Google, death, famine, war, and conquest. So I have a theory on basically how all of this sort of ties in with each other, and we're gonna kind of get started on that. But first, I just want to read Target Candy For You Studios' other post, and says that this makes sense due to the repetition of the number 4 in a team, 4 relics, 4 kingdoms, and it would make sense that the team has to stop the 4 Mega Grimm representing the horsemen. I actually did a whole essay in my last year of high school about the symbolism behind each one. It's definitely something to be considered if Rooster Teeth is using the number 4 a lot, and the Chinese number 4 is considered a bad omen because it means death, and Ren is inspired by Chinese monks, or even similar to Mulan to me, and so the 4 horsemen may end up just being part of his backstory. And so that is basically what Target For You Studios said to us, and I agree wholeheartedly with them, which is why I'm doing this theory. So it kind of, again, it makes sense because of the repetition of number 4 that the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse would kind of fit into that. As Crow said, he has seen the things that Salem has made, and they are fear, and this is definitely fear itself. So it would make sense if Salem kind of set off this, like, apocalypse thing in search of the relics, or that it is becoming the end of the world because the schools are falling and all of this kind of stuff. So we don't exactly know what has kind of made the end of the world, but we can guess that it has something to do with Salem, since Salem is kind of defying the laws of nature and Grimm and humans as we know it right here. And so maybe something happened that during the Great War, when Salem kind of rose to power again, which would be a couple of years ago before the series, because we see that this creature does destroy Ren's parents' kingdom, and he knows this monster well, so maybe this is a monster that came up again because Salem and Ozpin and their clashes for power kind of, they're causing the end of the world, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So, why would this basically, you know, make sense? And so we have 4 horsemen. Death, famine, war, and conquest. And we also have 4 kingdoms. And so what I figured was that there would be, I'm gonna basically tell you which one is for what kingdom and why. So if there are other ones first we're gonna start with Mistral, because that's obviously where we are right now, and this would be the one that is attacking, well, Ruby and John, or is going to be in the next episode. So I put Conquest for Minstrel, because it's conquesting literally all of the villages as we speak, and that one makes sense. Also, we know that Minstrel kind of worked together with Atlas because they wanted to take over or conquest everything, and so it would make sense if this demon was summoned somehow kind of as a punishment for Mistral for what happened during the war, because Atlas, they wanted all of the resources, but Mistral tried to take over settlements in Vale and other places because they kind of wanted to civilize the people there, or they kind of, in their minds, they thought they were doing good by, you know, helping these uncivilized Vale people, sort of thing. Yeah. And so it would make sense if, like, all of the kingdoms were cursed by the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse or something, that this would be conquest. And I'm guessing, Hunter, that you kind of see the logic in there. I know I usually ask for Hunter's opinion at the end, but I kind of want to do it as we go through the horsemen, because these are all relating to different kingdoms.
I think I have maybe a complementary but slightly different theory, so I'd rather you just go through it all and maybe I can come in at the end.
Okay. And so then we go to Atlas. And so Atlas would obviously have war. Atlas started the war because they wanted to gather all of the resources, and it would only make sense for the huntsman, the death horseman rather, to be that one. It could be causing Atlas to even go to war, depending on how much influence that this demon really has, but it could also just be the curse that Atlas got for causing the Great War and everything like that. So the other one would be Famine, which would go with Vacuo. They were stripped of all of their resources by Atlas, and that could have left them in a famine, because famine is basically, I mean, we think about it kind of how, like, if crops dry up or food, like, if there's not enough food, we think, oh, those people are in a famine or a drought and stuff like that. But basically, it's sort of like without resources. And so if Atlas took all these things from the people of Vacuo, that's kind of a famine in itself for them. And it could have brought the famine horse Grimm to Vacuo. So finally, we have Death, and Death would be Vale. I don't have a good reason for this. Maybe Hunter can help me out. Process of elimination, that's just where it goes. I don't really know why.
I mean, all the deaths we've seen so far have been there.
Yeah. The bloodiest battle apparently was in Vacuo, but it was by Vale's army. I think, if I remember that from the World of Remnant, so maybe Vale just brings death?
Yeah.
Oh, because of the king! The king brought the scepter and did storms and killed a lot of people. There we go. That's a good reason. Okay, so that is basically the end of my theory. I believe that this is what exactly those Grimms are, what they've been caused by. We may get a closer look at it in the next episode, because it was covered in shadow before, but we presume that it's going to be fighting Ruby and John. So... Now, Hunter, do you wanna talk about this with me now? It's not very, like, it's not a very crack theory where, you know, we had to connect all the dots. It was kind of just like, oh, hey, you know what I mean?
I mean, I think there's some good ideas there. Maybe less horsemen and maybe 4 like evil Grimm, because we see the Grimm dragon.
Of the apocalypse, at least.
We see the Grimm dragon at the end of Volume 3.
Yeah, that's true, but it doesn't seem as scary.
But also, it just kind of summons it from a mountaintop, and then we never really see why. So maybe there could be.
Speaking of Death in Vale, though, Mountain Glen.
Oh, right? Yeah, absolutely.
Mountain Glen had a lot of deaths, and that's where that dragon came from.
And also the whole idea of the apocalypse, I suppose, in regards to the 4 horsemen, is that seals are broken, so things need to happen in order for them to come. So I guess the war in Mountain Glen, all these make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know about the apocalypse, but I like the idea of maybe like 4 like particularly nasty Grimm.
I mean, this has been a long apocalypse, right? If it's taken 80 years.
It's a prolonged apocalypse.
All of the seals were broken during the war for the reasons I already stated. Like, it's been 80 years, so maybe you're right, Hunter. Maybe it's just the 4 Grimm that were unlocked because these seals were broken, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Or maybe
I wouldn't say apocalypse,
because I mean, I guess, yeah, it makes sense, like...
Caused by human greed and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like Salem's punishment for the war.
Because I understand, like, the whole, like, the show does have, like, a infatuation with the word 4, or the idea of 4.
Yeah.
But... do I think it's going to exactly be that? I feel like
I feel like it's going to be close, at
maybe
least.
similar. I like the idea of maybe, like, each individual area has a particularly nasty Grimm, like the Grimm Dragon, or whatever that thing was.
So boring.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right, but this is kind of a more,
I mean, it could happen.
Yeah.
We don't exactly know what the relics are for, other than that they give a lot of power.
Because this is what I could see as happening, right? Because we know that Salem has been alive for a long time. We know that she has this hatred for humanity. A lot of people, like, think that, I mean, obviously she's based off of the Wicked Witch of the West, but a lot of people think that she was similar to Elphaba in the sense that she was a revolutionary and probably mad about what the wizard, which would have been Osmond, was doing. And so I think that with this idea, Salem somehow got turned into a Grimm during the war, and she unleashed these Grimm onto mankind for all of the wrongs that they did, for all of the wrongs of the kingdoms that they did, and they've kind of just been around ever since. Sort of situation. So maybe not apocalyptic, but it's definitely, like, sort of the idea, seals were broken, these demon Grimm popped out of the ground, and there they go, you know? So even if it's not exactly 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, which I wouldn't exactly mind. If it's giant 4 evil Grimm, like, that's close enough. I'm good with that.
Because it's I was always kind of put off by, like, the whole Grimm Dragon, because it shows up, it's a big deal, then it turns to stone, and we never really hear more about it.
I mean, it's frozen. It's not stone.
Well,
she's not Medusa. Like, it's just frozen in time.
Whatever. Point is, the thing, like, croaks, and we don't really know what happened. So I think maybe there could be something to that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be so literal,
it's just,
but...
the dragon isn't scary enough for me. Like, this thing put fear into my heart, which is why I don't think that
dramatic, huh?
No, but seriously, it's scary,
I mean, yeah,
right?
I think
and
it's
so I don't
spookier.
think that it is... I don't think that they're the same. Like, I think if this theory comes true, I don't think that the dragon was part of that. I think the dragon was just kind of chilling. You know, chilling like a villain
giant
sort of
monster.
thing. But, like, you know,
it needs to be there for a reason.
I feel like she made it for Cinder. Like, I feel like, you know, like Salem was like, here's a present,
that's a really fucked up birthday present now.
I don't think that it is one of the apocalyptic Grimm. Like, that would just be, like, it's not scary enough. And maybe they'll improve its appearance in Volume 4 if we see it again.
Well, to be fair, we don't even know what this one looks like.
I mean, we kind of do. Well, we know the shape. That's close enough.
We know the silhouette. What if it looks really dumb when you actually get close to it? We don't know exactly.
We don't know. This is why this is a theory that's coming out the day before the episode, so if we're wrong... we wanted to get it out basically before we were proven right or wrong.
This has a short shelf life.
Yeah.
Potentially a short shelf life.
Yeah.
Anyways, it makes sense the dots you've connected, just my 2 cents.
Okay, well, I think that in that case, we're pretty much done here. I don't think we have anything else to say. But yeah, I really like this theory. Target candy for you, studios. Thank you. I said I was gonna do a video on it, and I kept my promise. So anyway, you guys, that is pretty much it. We will see you all in the next video tomorrow, which will be our normal analysis and comments. We'll find out if this theory is true or not. If it's not, like, I may cry a little bit, but not too much. But yeah, this is a really fun video to do. I like it when people in the comments decide to connect the dots, and it was nice. And so anyway, you guys, thank you for watching. Thank you to patrons on Patreon, Academy Professor Jackson Buchanan, as well as Huntsman Tier Patron Edwin. If you guys want to see what we're doing on Patreon, I put a list of all of the projects, well, this week's projects, and so that is available to the public, available to everyone. But if you want to get the more detailed stuff about that, you can sign up to be a patron. Even for a $1 patron, you can see, basically, I'm going to give a little description of all those projects and why I'm doing them, post little clips and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, click the link down below, and I will see you guys all soon. Bye-bye!